Welcome back to the Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased except ours. I'm Colin.
I'm Todd Howard, here to sell you another copy of Skyrim.
And I'm a ghoul.
That was
Very
lame.
creative name.
Lame. So, we're talking about this week. Let's just get right into it. We're talking about the first 4 episodes of the new Fallout show, which has been met with so far critical acclaim. And as for someone who has never played a Fallout game, I think it's pretty okay so far. I know very little about Fallout. Like I said, I never played a game. I've only played Skyrim from Bethesda. So I don't really have anything to base off like my knowledge of the game versus the show, but for what it is, I kind of liked it. What about you, Craig?
I did not like it.
Oh, okay. And Daniel, what did you think?
It's not as bad as I thought it would be.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was expecting a train wreck, as we kind of tend to expect things these days. Not a train wreck, I'll say that.
It is
It's
watchable. It's not painful to get through.
it's no Halo, which I've never seen, but I heard Halo is just abysmal.
It's no Halo, it's no Monarch, like
Oh, that's not a high bar.
it's no Avatar: The Last Airbender live action,
Which live action, Craig?
the TV show.
Oh, okay, okay. I mean, it's not that's not a high bar. I think for what it is, it's competent enough. I don't know how faithful it is to the game series. And I remember you told me that it's not based off of any characters from the game. And honestly, that's probably the best thing they could do instead of just angering people and completely butchering characters from the game and their interpretation. I think it's
Well,
better to create something in the world of Fallout. Oh, what do you have to say?
well, you're right. They did not
Oh,
base off any
okay.
video game character, but they still have it in the same universe as the video games, which I really don't understand why.
Yeah, because all
I don't
the
see the point of mixed medium. I think it's generally a bad idea.
because I think
Oh, takes
this
place in the same
because
universe as the games?
this show
Yeah,
pulls this
Oh,
season pulls from the first two games.
yeah.
I didn't
And
play
I've
the
never
two
played the,
games,
yeah, I haven't played it either, but
but
I
I
know
looked
people
it
are
up.
very upset about the lore
Yeah,
changes.
because the Brotherhood of Steel is from the games. They mention it, the New Republic of California.
Yeah, like yeah, the NCR. Uh, there's only the two major factions they bring up, and I know obviously Vault-Tec but that's not as usually a big of a faction in the games.
I only know Vault Boy. That's all I know.
So do you have any questions about the show that you don't think they answered? Because I was watching this with somebody else, and she kept mentioning that she didn't understand certain things because I don't think they did a good job of explaining the world. Like, why does it look retro futuristic?
Well, I thought that was just like a design. There's a word for it where it's like it's based off of the '60s, but it's like kind of futuristic and like
Retro futuristic?
yeah, that's what those shows like the Jetsons did and whatnot. So I didn't I understood that. It was just like a style they were doing, or
Well, I mean, it's not so much just the style. Like in this world, after World War II, I guess the transistor wasn't invented. They just everything was nuclear powered or like based off nuclear energy.
well, I didn't think of that. I just thought like, oh, it took place in the '60s. I thought it took place in the '60s in the beginning, so I'm guessing it doesn't.
No, it
No,
takes
it's
place in the year 2077 when the bombs drop.
yeah.
Not a
I did
spoiler.
not know that. I thought it was in the '60s.
And the
No.
show takes place in the year 2296.
Because the thing also is that they're playing these songs from the '50s and '60s, so that's what I was thinking the whole time. I mean,
Well,
not in
that's
the
a pull
modern
from the
time.
game.
Yeah, that like those songs were directly pulled from the
In
games.
fact, I'm not sure if they used any songs not from the games. I think most of the songs they pulled straight from Fallout 4, like almost their entire library.
Must have
Yeah,
paid a pretty penny for that.
yeah like the opening scene. Wham, bam, boom, goes in.
I mean, I was getting a little annoyed. Just obviously, the songs are part of the game series, but like, could you pick one song not from the game series?
No.
Oh,
Well, it's like,
a hot take here.
well, because people could say like, oh, it's from the games, but you can't pick something that we haven't heard before if you played the games. I know you can say, oh, we're not appealing to just fans of the games, but I don't see why is it so hard to pick one song not from the games. There's a lot of songs made in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, yeah, especially like in the like scenes where they're just traveling, you maybe could just have kind of like a theme playing. You don't necessarily have to have a song playing.
Well, because in the
Um,
first episode, they played like 10 songs.
Yeah, that got annoying. I think the constant playing of the songs is
that's what
wearing
I mean.
thin.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like that's why like in instead of like playing a song for every scene, you could have a theme. You could have an original theme playing in the background of it, like of scenes. Just
Because
because
just for
because
reference, Colin, in the
yeah.
games, you can on your Pip-Boy, you can have like a radio when you're running around the wasteland, and you can play like the radio and listen to these old songs.
It's more of a ground noise. It doesn't like unless you're just wandering and you're like standing there. If you're doing something, you're not gonna fully hear it.
Yeah, it just kind of gets you in the mood, I guess, to kind of get you into the setting.
Yeah. So
Ah,
for reference, I only played Fallout 4.
I've played
So
3, 4, and some of New Vegas.
that's more than me. So I know New Vegas is a place. So all the Fallout
Hmm.
games take place in one continuity, right?
Yes, but they all take places in different parts of the country.
yeah. So
Well,
the first
sort of. 1,
yeah.
2, and New Vegas take place in the California, Las Vegas region. 3 takes place in Washington, D.C. 4 takes place in Boston, and Fallout 76 takes place from West Virginia all the way to Atlantic City.
Oh my God. So I don't think they explained it in the show. What is the deal with those robots?
Which ones?
Which
The ones where Maximus is piloting. I
oh
get
the
his whole
Oh,
bikes.
the
story. I
armor?
get that. Yeah.
Yeah,
What are they
the
doing?
armor.
Are they like a
Brotherhood of Steel?
yeah, what is
Yeah.
that?
Oh, so they're this. So there are changes between it different games, like their interpretation. Originally, in the first 2 Fallout games, they're just like technology hoarders. They'll come, kill people, steal like advanced technology, and just hoard it because they don't trust people to use it properly. In like the Bethesda made games 3, 4, and onward, they're more of the good guys. Like Fallout 3, they use their advanced technology to help bring fresh water to Washington, D.C. Fallout 4, they helped kill the Institute, a bunch of rogue scientists creating machines to replace people.
That's your side of the story, Craig.
Hey, people for some reason think the Brothers C were the bad guys or the fascists in Fallout 4. They were undoubtedly the good guys.
Well, the thing is, it's
I'm not taking any lip from you.
I was going to agree with you,
Because you're other fascists. I don't care. Death to the Institute.
but the armor that they have, Colin, like they didn't make. Those armors were from
From the war, before the
yeah,
bombs dropped.
yeah, the Great War is what they called when it went to a nuclear holocaust when the bombs got released. But what was the war before that? It
I don't know, this
was
is like the resource war, something like
yeah, it was
America and
Chinese
China
China
were at each other to like, I don't know, they're running out of like oil, so they're killing each other to get more oil.
because they
US and
mentioned
yeah.
because when they go into the Ghoul's background when he was the actor and stuff, and didn't he say he served on the Alaskan front line?
Yeah,
I don't think
because
they
yeah.
got to that in the first four episodes.
Oh,
Oh,
well,
anyway,
he's a veteran.
so they're going to mention the Alaskan front line because they don't really explain it. That was when China invaded Alaska.
Yeah, and they captured Anchorage, and he was, I guess, there because there's a level in Fallout 3 where you're part of that. You're in the simulation, but you're part of the mission to retake Anchorage from the Chinese.
Yeah.
Which I
So
think it's a deliberate choice not to mention the Chinese as the bad guys because, that's a big no-no these days in Hollywood.
Well, John Cena is going to apologize in Mandarin. That happens again.
But getting back to the first episode, I don't really think it's a good first episode to introduce you to the series.
Yeah, there's just like too much
yeah,
going on.
Well, yeah, well, for one, I don't like that they have like every single character has to get their time in the sunlight, but also, the Raiders come. Obviously, they're Raiders. No one seems to recognize that any of these people don't belong there. And they're apparently they're covered in radiation. No one detects it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
their whole
the Pit
beepers
Boy.
didn't go off at all. But
Yeah,
when
the
she's
Pit
trying
Boy
to get water
automatically
later
knows it.
on, her thing beeps that radiation.
Yeah. Well, also, I don't know how she knew that they were raiders since this vault had never been exposed to the outside world yet. Because
Yeah,
when the
how
guy
did
like
they
reveals
know?
himself, she goes Raiders. Like she then uses the Pip-Boy. She goes Raiders. It's like the scene before when they were marrying them. The dad was saying how it with hopes that with like their calculations and stuff that her kid would be that part of the first generation to go above ground. So they were under the illusion that like they at least gave the audience the impression that they hadn't left the vault yet, so they would not know what to expect.
Yeah, or like there's like a faction of like crazy people called Raiders running around. So that right there kind of, I didn't can't say I cared for like bad writing.
Also, another thing that bothered me, Craig, and I don't know if this bothered you, why was there a fat character in the vault?
Was
Well,
there no fat people in Fallout?
They're rationing food and they're also growing like crops. There wouldn't be any overweight people.
that, and especially when you get to outside into the wasteland, people overweight. It's like, well, I mean, if you're kind of st struggling to even survive and eat, and I don't know how overweight you really could be. It's just a fact of life.
That's true. That's true.
Because then we get to our other main protagonist, Maximus of the Brotherhood of Steel, and my God, is he awful.
Well, should we go with the main character first?
Lucy,
Girl, Lucy.
Sure.
she's all
She's all
right.
right.
The show breaks it into three main characters storylines that intertwine. So your first, well, you were technically introduced to the ghoul first, but that's when he was normal, and then Lucy, which I don't mind Lucy.
Because they made the smart choice of not actually having her be a girl boss. People actually don't like her. They don't trust her. They've been trying. Everyone's trying to kill her. Because we look at other female characters like Galadriel or Rey, where everyone's like fawning over them, like, "Oh my God, it's her." Quite the opposite.
I
Lucy's
don't
like,
know you, but I respect you. Actual line from episode 9.
"Oh yeah." You're like everyone's like calling her stupid and like, I guess people are being nice. They're telling her to go home, but I mean, they're doing it more because they think she's naive, not because she's super special. Like, no, if you don't go home, you're probably gonna get yourself killed because you're too stupid to survive.
Yeah,
So that definitely helps that she's not annoying. In fact, I kind of like the fact that she's almost pure-hearted because I've seen reaction to the show, and I have seen the whole thing. People are upset that she doesn't become like a monster by the end of the series. I guess
All right,
spoilers.
well, don't spoil it. I haven't seen it yet.
Well, people are expecting her to become like a degenerate, and she doesn't, which I feel like is nice. Like you see at the end of episode 4, she tries to help everybody. She gives the ghoul his chems to keep him from turning. She shouldn't have to help him. She could let him like fall and like drool his brains out on the ground, but she helped him because she's just a nice person. It's refreshing.
yeah. It's also like it's like I don't want to say it's nice to see, but
It's nice to
like it's
see.
not that. I was talking about like it's kind of funny where she talks about the golden rule, but and it constantly goes into conflict with like what she's dealing with. So she kind of has to like bend around it, but she doesn't break her like morality.
Yeah, I mean, I know like in episode 4 she kills that one feral ghoul, but it's like you kind of had to. Once the ghouls become feral, you can't turn them back. I mean, maybe she doesn't know that at that point, but
Well,
Or
it's not
she
like
had to
she's
cut,
going around and like killing people.
yeah.
like, and she had to like kill, or not kill. She had to cut the scientist's head off, and she like was like hesitating, but then she's like, "But I have to get my dad."
Oh yeah, and he killed
Like,
himself, so she kind of made the choice easy.
yeah.
He just had cyanide on him, apparently.
Yeah, so she's definitely a much better protagonist. I don't know. Maybe I've been jaded with all the horror. Like you look at the Monarch show, we get like three horrible leads.
Uh,
Here, it's nice to finally have a lead that isn't outright horrible or contemptful.
I mean, I kind of miss Kentaro looking sad and confused.
Or what was her hacker friend? She was awful.
May.
Oh my God.
Imagine her as the Fallout protagonist.
Oh God, be
Let me hack into the
insufferable.
vault security systems. I don't know if you can hear me clanking on my keyboard, but I'm doing that really fast.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I do like she's a good protagonist. Like it's, but my favorite, and I think probably the best one, unanimously, I can't pronounce anything. Um,
Unanimously.
yeah, keep bragging. Um, the
Be
the
grateful for
ghoul,
your speech.
the ghoul. He's easily the best
Cooper
character.
Howard.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I like him. The Ghoul.
Well, it's helped that he's the best actor among them.
Yeah.
Yeah, he of Fat Man, where he was the killer, hired assassin in the Mel Gibson Fat Man movie. Great movie, by the way. I was telling Craig, he was in. You remember he was in Predators, right?
Yeah.
He was the one character because Craig never saw it. He's the one character who's saying, he's like, man, when
I've
I
seen
get back
pieces
to
of
Earth, he's gonna like sexually assault a bunch of women. He
it.
can't wait to do that. I can't even imagine like him reading the script. He's like, I gotta say that.
I heard he has an N-word pass from Django Unchained.
He's in Django Unchained.
Yeah,
Uh,
he dropped a couple of N-bombs, so he definitely has the N-word pass.
I don't remember him in that.
He
But
was
yeah,
also he was also in Shanghai Noon, if you remember.
can't say I do. But yeah, he's definitely the best character, and I like so far at least that like I don't need to know every detail because I know there's probably some smooth brains out there who are like, oh, I want to know every single backstory. And so far in the first four episodes, they don't really talk about it too much. They just show he was an actor and whatnot. And then in the first episode, they show him during the nuke, and you can just assume that that's what happens to people when they get exposed to radiation. They become ghouls.
Yeah, some people.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. If he was that close to the bomb, he would not be a ghoul. He would be
He'd
like
be
dust.
he'd be a shadow on some driveway.
Colin, you want to guess what the term is for people that do turn into ghouls?
Is he not a ghoul?
No, 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 no. He is, but there's a process they go through.
It's called the shivers, shingles.
It's called ghoulification.
Oh my god. Ghoulification. That's actually pretty funny.
Now, I don't know. The one thing that might be different, I'm not sure if it's Craig. You might be able to explain, but in the show, they very much explain the difference between feral ghouls and humane ghouls. Is there if they can keep a constant source of like vials and drinking them? I don't know in the games if that was lore accurate because
No, so there's two things. One, when you become a ghoul, your voice, your vocal cords kind of get destroyed too, because they don't sound they did it because they wanted to keep his nice accent, and he doesn't have to, like destroy his voice acting. So I can understand why they'd make that change, because most schools are like, instead of like he talks, "How you looking? What you looking at? Smooth skin." It's more of what they sound like. So it makes sense why they would say don't do that. And two, every ghoul will become feral at some point. You can't take chems to ward it off. It's more of, there's no like exact science. Maybe it's a matter of like willpower, strong mind, like. But eventually, he will turn into a feral ghoul in the game. TV show, I guess you take enough chems, you'll keep it off for a while.
well, they probably were like, yeah, he's our best character. We can't.
I guess. I mean, also, yeah, but that's really it. I mean, people complain that's
Ghoulification.
lore breaking. It's like I guess, but
Not.
uh,
Yeah. Because I think it's something like it can add an interesting like in an episode like if he starts to try to turn feral and like they have to get the vials, kind of like what they did in the one where he dropped and she ends up helping him, kind of a deal. Can always add some conflict.
yeah, because if it's just it's a ticking time bomb, then I feel like that's less interesting. He can turn whenever, we don't know when, and then probably sometime very plot convenient.
Yeah,
Well,
I
let's get
thought.
to.
Oh yeah, you could. I was just gonna say. Yeah, I thought he was good. The ghoul.
I really wish they gave him a better name. Like I don't want to call him the Ghoul. Like it's Cooper Howard.
The
Who, by the
ghoul.
way, apparently they named him after famous, not the creator, but game developer Todd Howard,
Oh, did
who
they?
wants to sell you Skyrim. I'm almost saying they named the character after him.
The Ghoul.
What does this say about Todd?
Now
He's
on
a,
to
he's a
Craig's.
ghoul.
Now on to Craig's favorite
Yeah,
character.
Maximus.
My God, is he awful? He's a psychopath. Like, I don't understand what they were doing with him. Like, the ghoul's the morally gray guy. Lucy's the morally good person. He's the psychopath running around like wanting to kill everybody who wrongs him.
Well, the thing is
Yeah,
like you
he's
don't
pretty
need.
vindictive.
Yeah. I just feel like he's just his storyline and everything is just completely useless. Like if you cut him out and just paired the paired the ghoul with Lucy, like I think that's perfectly fine. Like you don't need you. It's one thing to have the Brotherhood of Steel coming after them just as like an entity, but you don't need some just lunatic, trying to prove like he's a knight. Like it's just I feel like he doesn't like serve any like
Well,
purpose other
he
than
he
just like
definitely slows down. Whenever they show him, it slows down the pace of each episode.
yeah. Like that's what I mean. It's like especially in the first episode, like it really slows it down where it's like, okay, like you have the vault gets raided, and then you introduce the ghoul going into the second episode.
The
Like
Ghoul.
you don't need like Maximus's like his training and stuff like that. That to me was just completely useless. Like you can introduce the Brotherhood of Steel. Like you just have a bunch of nameless goons and the leader like saying, "Hey, we got to get this. Kill whoever. Go." Like that to me, I think was much better than Maximus getting bullied and the whole thing with his friend with the really buzzed haircut. Um, like losing the squire and like I was like, what is this? It kind of like detracts from the entire story.
Yeah, like so you got stepped in like a bunch of razor blades or something
Yeah.
somehow.
And then it's just like, and then like the scenes with him, with where him as the squire, it's just like pointless. And like that whole part where like the knight is like, "Oh, drop me down. I want to go shoot something." It's like,
I
it was like stupid.
well, especially the Brotherhood of Steel, where they aren't monsters. They're usually the good guys, or at least, a neutral party. They're never like a bunch of raving psychopaths just killing indiscriminately. Their whole the whole reason they were an organization was to stop the abuse of technology. This guy running around killing people in power armor is kind of counterintuitive to the group's cause. And yeah, we see that the Knight Titus die like a wimp. It's like you would never be made a knight. They're very. It's a military organization. They wouldn't let some wimp be a knight who's gonna cave at some bear that
Yeah,
scratches him.
that part took that like that just took me out of it. Like where what's that guy's name? Rappaport.
Who? Ian Rappaport?
Isn't that it was Michael Rappaport, right?
Definitely not Ian Rappaport.
Yeah.
No, I said definitely not Ian Rappaport.
No, I think the guy's name is Michael Rappaport.
The character's name or the actor?
No,
So
the
it's Knight
actor.
Titus.
Oh,
No, the guy who played Knight Titus. When
oh, sure.
he takes off his armor and he's just complaining the whole time. Like, this is all your fault, man. You know what they're gonna do to
Oh yeah, that was so
you.
bad.
That guy, like, he just changes. Like, I'm like, what is this? They should have just, like, if anything, you don't have to have him do all that stupid dialogue where it's supposed to be funny or whatever.
It's not
It's
funny.
just like, yeah, it's not. Just have him get mauled by the bear. Like he gets pulled out by the bear and just gets shredded. And then, honestly, they could have had like Maximus either get in the armor, like somehow the dude gets pulled out, then he uses the armor to fight the bear, like
Yeah,
proving his
he basically
bravery.
kills the guy. Like, yeah, he's a jerk, but you let the guy die right in front of you
Yeah, he was like taking forever to
on purpose to
No,
kill
I
him.
know. Yeah, I know that, but it's like
It's
how
like,
can you root for that kind of person?
and it's like
Because
what he got treated badly because he was at the bottom of the military rank. It's like, have you ever been on a team? You got to earn your right. Like that's not
It
enough for him
can't
to
be
be a
that low. You
psychopath.
were promoted to a squire before those other people.
Just like they're like they're trying to justify his like his motive. It's just his motives don't add up to him being a psychopath.
Well, like you're saying before, we don't need to know every single part of a character's backstory, but this is the example of why you don't do that. We know everything about this guy, and I hate him. I really want him to die.
Like honestly, if they just had Knight Titus like never get out of his armor and like he doesn't really have a dialogue or you don't know anything about him, but he's just sent to go hunt this get the scientist and he comes into conflict trying to kill him, that would have been perfectly fine. Because Lucy and Cooper Howard for Craig, they would have been
Ooh,
perfectly
whatever.
they would have been perfectly fine. Like that.
Yeah, I don't see the point of this character unless you're trying to make the Brotherhood of Steel look bad because they allowed a psychopath to run around in power armor. I mean, this is also like a minor thing. I really hate the fact they made the power armor suits fly like Iron Man. In the games, they can't fly.
Oh my God, that
Oh, he
fight
can't.
scene with the
Oh,
ghoul.
I was gonna say with the bear too. I mean, yeah, the ghoul fight scene went on for way too long.
Well, I was also gonna say in the ghoul fight scene with Craig, what Craig was talking about the flying when he would fly, it looks so bad.
What was that Iron Man? It's power armor. It's supposed to, it's for soldiers wore this in the game's universe. Soldiers aren't gonna be flying around like Iron Man blasting people. They'll be on the front lines taking shots and, shooting back. Oh yeah, and the fight scenes were terrible. Like the fight scene with the bear looked terrible. And he just like
Yeah,
doing,
the CGI with the suit too looked pretty rough.
which I don't understand. Like, don't they have like a practical suit they could use?
It probably can't move that well, I imagine, if there is a
Yeah,
practical suit.
no, in the games, you weren't that fast in the armor. That's why you had a heavy. That's why you had a Gatling gun strapped to you. Because you, especially Craig, like when you had to fight. Remember at the beginning of Fall Forward, you got the armor and you had to fight the Death Claw.
Yeah.
You couldn't. You couldn't really outmove it, so you had to just keep trying to gun it down and tank the hits.
Like you can move faster and older, at least like Fallout 3, but that was also they didn't really take into account, what you were wearing. It was just armor. Because this is more based on Fallout 4, like how you get into the suit too.
Yeah, yeah, the fusion core.
Yeah. Yeah, but the fight scene with the ghoul was just terrible. I mean, for one, the fact that he could survive a hit like that, just to fight the power armor, and the fact it just looked terrible.
Are
When
can they tank hits, the ghouls? Like, can they tank
No,
gunshots?
they're
not,
just
no.
irradiated humans.
Because he was like
Yeah,
taking some bullets too, and I was like, oh, I guess he's just built
yeah.
different.
That was a continuity issue because like you see when the feral ghouls attacked Lucy, she dropped it in one shot. And then also when he killed the other ghoul that was turning, he just put a bullet right in his head.
Ah, okay.
So they're not they're kind of more like zombies. Like they can get down by bullets pretty quickly. Also in the games too, you could melee them.
Yeah, again, they're not really. I mean, they're only, I think, biological advantage that they're basically immune to radiation. They're so irradiated, they're
Yeah.
already immune to radiation.
Yeah. Yeah, so that didn't make sense, him being able to like get thrown around by the armor and tank bullets, like that wouldn't have been the case.
Also, again, it just looked terrible.
Yeah. Speaking of things that are terrible and really not necessary to the story is the constant going back to the vault and Lucy's brother's storyline.
Yeah, I really don't care about his brother or her brother. He just looks like he's gonna cry every time.
Well, Mr. Two's like, oh man, I'm upset because I didn't fight when the Raiders came. It's like, all right, well, they're not going to come back, so don't worry about
Also,
it.
how would you have been prepared for combat? Like you guys were living there like essentially this utopia underground. Like you guys wouldn't have been prepared for combat. Their whole mission was for like a peaceful um, repopulation of the surface world when the time came. They were not prepared at all for that.
Oh yeah, especially again, there was also a sneak attack. It wasn't like they knew they were coming and he ran away. Like all of a sudden, these people are killing your fellow vault mates, and he doesn't know what to do. Like I get why he feels like that, but at the same time, I don't understand why you'd be
Yeah,
obsessing either.
it's like I know that they showed her when she was like applying for the arranged marriage thing, and like they show her like doing the combat and stuff. It's like, yeah, I mean you're doing that, but like still, when you get ambushed, like none of them have actual combat training. None of them would have been prepared to handle that. Like, but
Well,
I
again,
just
key word, they
oh.
were ambushed.
But that was another thing. So like, it was the Ghoul and Lucy. It was fine. Like, the story moved along. But then it takes not only with Maximus, but then when they would cut back to the vault, and like then the stupid like voting thing, and the brother like trying to uncover stuff. I'm like, this doesn't serve anything to the actual like it slows everything down because they set it in like they set a good pace at least at the end of the first one. Like, all right, I'm gonna go find my dad. The whole thing about Fallout is being out in the wasteland, dealing with everything that's out there. You don't need to deal with the internal struggle of the vault.
Well, that was the thing too. In all the Fallout games, most of the time, once you leave the vault, you generally don't come back, or it's not a major plot point.
Yeah.
Like you can, like in Fallout 3, you can come back to the vault and you can do a quest, but it's not the main plot. The main plot is helping your father bring fresh water to the capital wasteland. That was the thing too. Speaking of like bad CGI, was it episode 2 where that Enclave scientist was running from the turret?
Oh,
Oh, with
yes,
the
the dog.
dog.
With the dog, yeah.
Yeah,
It has
but like,
like it looked like green screen effects you find on YouTube that you just key it out and then you add the squibs.
oh, it looked
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah, it looked pretty rough.
Because it's not like the guy was running like an Olympic sprinter.
Oh no, it's
It's
probably because they didn't want to have the charges go off near the dog.
But still, I mean, you could have had it where he sees him moving, he just gets right around the corner before it starts shooting. Like you could have done that way differently.
Yeah, not that it misses point blank. It shoots 100 bullets.
Yeah,
Oh,
especially a guy who's running at like 2 miles an hour.
well, yeah, he's an old man running. That doesn't look all that great.
He looks like Jean Reno, the French guy from the '98 Godzilla movie. That's what I kept on thinking.
No, not that this matters to you specifically, Colin, but do you know what the Enclave is? Because I don't think they explained it.
I'm assuming it's something in his head, his head that he drilled in earlier that they want, or is like some kind of bargain.
Oh, that part is true, but the
Oh,
Enclave is the remnants of the United States government pretending that they still have control over the country after the country was nuked. And they're like the most evil organization.
I did not know that. No.
So the fact that some Enclave scientist wants to help is very weird because they're like hilariously evil. Just thought I'd tell you because they don't really explain what the Enclave is.
Yeah.
Did they even mention the word enclave? I don't know if they did.
Yeah, they keep saying they said
Oh,
it I think in the first 2 or 3 episodes, the Enclave scientist.
okay.
Well, just because they don't, I mean, not that they explain every little thing, but I feel like a major faction of the
Well, I
Enclave
think
deserves an explanation.
they could have taken away time trying to explain Maximus's backstory and the stuff like that, and you just explain more of the world,
Well, a
like
good
things that are
way
going on
to
in the
to
world.
get this dialogue out of there, this expository dialogue, is to have people tell it to Lucy, because she's the fish out of water. That is your perfect vehicle to learn everything about what you're supposed to learn. Like the Enclave, I had no idea what that was.
The Brotherhood of Steel, what they do, oh, there's some weirdos who hoard technology.
Yeah, you refine the dialogue a little bit, but she's your perfect vehicle because it's not like it's somebody that should know this stuff and then someone else is telling this person. You have your perfect fish out of water character who's in a different environment. There you go. That's how you can
Because
explain things
so what
more
do you think the
organically.
Brotherhood of Steel was before we told you?
I thought they were just some kind of like military goons because I didn't know they're supposed to be good guys. They just seemed like mercenaries, honestly, like very heavy financed mercenaries.
No, there's no financing.
Okay, I say that because I see like all these like helicopters.
Well, yeah, they have
Blimp,
some,
the blimp.
Yeah, the blimp.
yeah, but they're a very, dedicated organization to stopping humanity from destroying itself a second time
See, I
over.
didn't get any of that.
So that was my thing. So I was watching with that other person. I had to like, explain stuff. She's like, I don't understand. Why do they want this? Well, because they're obsessed with technology. That's why they would want this device.
Well, they
Or
never made
why
that
they
clear. They just seemed like army people.
that's like one of my complaints about the show. It's not so much that they aren't explaining things, but they make the world seem less interesting than it is in the games. Almost because they're
Yeah.
not giving you enough expository dialogue. I don't know. It just seems like they're making the factions a little more generic and not really letting them be themselves as they are in the game.
Interesting. Yeah, I had no idea that they were after technology. Because then they're like fighting a bear. I'm like, what is happening?
That guy's yeah, that guy was just stupid.
Which I thought would have been a perfect time to introduce a death claw instead of just a bear. Like, and that's another thing is like like something like that. I they could have added more monsters. Like I know what was it, episode 3? They
You know,
had
the
like that
Gulper.
the gulper,
I think
that
that's what
What's
fish.
I.
that one animal? I know it's like a frillfish. Is that what it's called? No, not
I
a
think
The
frillfish.
it looks
axolotl.
like
Yeah, an
axolotl. Yeah,
axolotl. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but like they could have introduced like the death claw in that scene. Like comes out of the cave and fights him. Like things like that are what the armor is designed for. And it's something unique to the Fallout world instead of just an irradiated bear.
I think that bear is an enemy from the games. I don't remember specifically, but yeah, like you're saying, no one remembers that bear. People think more about the death claws,
Yeah, so many
not
memes
the bears.
of the. There's so many memes from the gameplay of like dealing with death claws.
Death Claw Valley. Oh, so back to my point about making the world less interesting. Has this show made you more likely or less likely to pick up a Fallout game?
Uh, yes. Probably less
Like,
likely.
real? Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I was thinking. I feel like they just made the world so boring.
It just seems like a hold on, like a generic wasteland area. At least the show. I don't know about the game.
Yeah, because the games are much more vibrant. I know the showrunner had this like infamous quote saying, "Oh, I don't want to make the game to appeal just the fans." And I don't think the show. I don't know why people say that. You could just say, "Oh, the show is going to be different than the games because it's not an RPG. We have one single story to tell. You can't pick your own ending." Or you can just say that. That's the most best answer you could give, and it's the most realistic one you could
Yeah,
give.
yeah, because like in the games too, you can kind of wander wherever.
Well, yeah, there's the exploration part, but again, a lot of people like the fact that you can customize your character and play the games in many ways that you want that fits your character. While a TV show, you're stuck with the one story, stuck with the three idiot main characters.
Well, the one
Well,
idiot
one
main
idiot,
character.
yeah, one idiot. I don't know. I just think they made the world a lot less interesting.
Yeah.
And something that bothered me too, which I know is not a huge complaint, but when they're walking around, the biomes change drastically. You go from the apocalypse deserts to like a lush forest to a mountain, back to desert. Did you guys notice that too, or is it just me?
I cannot say I noticed that.
I don't know, I noticed that it's
I noticed it a bit.
just kind of bothering me.
California's a big state, Craig.
Well, it is, but they're not going very far. They're not, going up into the mountains.
Yeah, they're going town to town.
Yeah, something that just bothered me.
I also think too, like they don't have to. Something I was thinking of like how in the games where like you don't have to meet someone at every building they go into or like every area they go to. Like they don't have to meet people. Like they can just like in the games. Like if you went into a supermarket, like you would just run into it. Like you go into an aisle and there's just ghouls waiting to jump you. Like or if you went to the wrong area, there's a death claw waiting for you. Like things like that. I feel like they could have done better in the show. Like that, and that's what like if you and that's the problem with having this like these four storylines is you have to keep jumping from each of them. If they just condensed it to Lucy and the ghoul, like you could just have them going throughout the wasteland, like dealing with these dangers together, and like you can, and then you
Dealing with
can,
side quest almost.
yeah, like and you can just build the world more around it. Like you don't. I think the problem is like with all these different characters and like going back to the vault. Like that's the problem with the vault is like it doesn't it doesn't help build the world. Like it's like oh it's just it's just this vault, and they have a projector that like makes it look like Kansas. Like and
It's
it's
just
just
Yeah.
people
Montana.
and it's like these stupid jokes of these like the election thing. Like oh I thought I ran a good campaign. I put up like 10 flyers. It's like that's not needed
Are
to
they
the
all
story.
jokey like that in the vault in the games? I'm gonna assume no.
Well, I,
Well,
I can't tell you a definitive answer because it's a spoiler.
Oh, okay. Well, it's probably like a facade, right? I imagine.
You'll see.
Okay. They're hiding something. I knew it.
because in Fallout
Well, I mean, they're
4,
hinting that.
because in Fallout 4, like once you left the vault right away, and that was
Well,
it.
every game you leave the vault right away. Like, why you can't explore the big world around you stuck in
So
that
there are only
vault?
three vaults, the 31, 32, 33?
So
Or is
in
that
the
only the three in a section of
those three are
America?
connected. Most vaults aren't connected and they're spread. There's like 120, 130 spread out across the US.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
I am disappointed, Craig, when they showed the vault first, like when they were showing everyone in the vault, why they did not play. Why don't you crawl out to the fallout? Like I
I'm
feel like
surprised there were no
some
tunnel snakes.
yeah, like the or what was it the stink bugs that would spray you
No,
and
no, the
shoot like the
tunnel
acid
snakes is
at.
from Fallout 3. Like there was this group of like greasers, like there's like I guess it's typical greaser gang name. They call themselves the Tunnel Snakes. They just go, Tunnel Snakes rule.
I'm a little disappointed that they made it clear that the Vault Boy is based off of the Ghoul.
Yeah, I didn't like that. Especially he is black, he's balding his black hair.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why the Vault Boy couldn't be just, some cartoon mascot.
Yeah, they didn't need to like give an explanation for how they got it. Like it's a logo.
Yeah. But essentially he looks nothing like the Vault Boy. That's what makes it worse.
Yeah, he has like wavy hair, and the Ghoul's hair is like, I mean, before pre-Ghoul is like slicked back, it's thinning a little bit.
They also don't need to explain how they
Brown.
did why they did the thumbs up for the pose. Like when he explained it to his daughter in the first episode, like why not, what's with the thumbs up? And he's like, well, they taught us like if you see a bomb, if it's bigger than your thumb, like I'm like, you don't need to explain that.
I mean, I
You know
see
what?
people have been like making fan theories as to why the Vault Boy does a thumb up, thumbs up. I'm pretty sure it's just because it's a generic gesture we Americans do. Like, I don't think there's an explanation for it.
I think it's also kind of like a joke because like you have this Fallout logo of this guy like A-OK, and it's like he's the logo for technology that you use for a nuclear holocaust. Like I think it's more of just kind of a joke.
Well, that too. I mean, the Vault, yeah, there was like, wasn't there some joke poster in the vault?
Yeah, like don't lose your head.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just self-inserted jokes. Like it's the creators just kind of having fun with the premise. It doesn't. There's no. I, I don't think there's a deeper
He's
meaning to
kind of
it.
like
It's like,
the duck and cover thing from the 50s where they
yeah,
had like a duck mascot for that. It's
yeah.
kind of like that. And the fact that I don't know, I just don't like how they connected it
Well,
to
Well, they
especially in
take
like in
well.
today's world, we have tons of celebrity sponsorships. They don't become the mascot of the company too. They're a spokesperson.
Oh, it's a turtle.
But still, like a
Bert the
celebrity.
turtle.
But they take time to explain that. Like, but you don't explain things like the Enclave, the Brotherhood of Steel properly. Like you use your dialogue for that, but not for stuff that actually is vital to your world.
Yeah, I don't understand why. It's kind of hard to keep talking about the show without seeing the second half of the show. So I want to ask you, Colin. Have you seen the entire show?
I'm on episode 7.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask Colin because you're probably closer to guessing what's gonna happen. Colin, what do you
Ah,
think is gonna happen?
Um,
What do you think that device is?
oh, in the head?
Yeah.
I have no idea. Probably some kind of, I want to say cure, but it's definitely something like that where he's hiding something to the fact that he had the Enclave guy had to stick in his own neck. It's
Yeah, and
probably
chop his
some.
head off.
Oh yeah, that too. But like to hide it in the beginning, he shot himself in the neck. Or no, it was in his head. I think it was by his ear.
Yeah, it was like the base of his head.
So it's definitely probably something along those lines where,
So you think it's a cure?
yeah, for like radiation or radiation immunity. I don't know.
Interesting. And what do you think the Vault conspiracy is?
Oh, that probably things are a lot worse than they're letting on. Because I know they mentioned that they're running out of resources, and then didn't they say at least in episode 4 that they were let in?
Yeah, the
The
Raiders were let in.
Yeah, by Lucy's mom, but her mom's dead, so it was an inside job.
Yeah, but who do you think's responsible?
Definitely the fat guy. I think the elders, the three elders, the
Interesting,
woman, the
interesting.
fat guy, and the skinny guy. If it's the regular guy, the guy that likes Lucy, I'd be kind of surprised a little bit.
Chet.
Yeah,
Chet.
Does
That
anybody still
that that
think it was
was
weird that the woman with the one eye just basically shacks up with them? It's like, you're my husband now.
well, because he was wearing her husband's clothes and it reminded of her husband. She's just
I think
desperate and lonely.
That
I
was
think
creepy. They gotta stop putting that stuff in the show. That was creepy. I was uncomfortable
yeah.
watching that.
Yeah, I'm Bert. I'm like, what is this? Oh, also too with Chet, like I don't know, like they they talked about uh him and Lucy, even though they're cousins, doing things when
Oh
they were
yeah, that
younger.
was weird. I
I
forgot
mean, what
about
is
that.
this? What is this? Fallout Frontier?
I totally forgot about that in the beginning that they were
Yeah, is this
cousins.
Fallout Game of Thrones? Is George R. R. Martin
Remember that
into
Fallout
everything?
mod told you about?
Fallout Alabama.
No, there's a mod called Fallout Frontier.
I like my women like I like my sandwiches in bread.
I want to say is if you know what that mod is, you know,
I do not. Can't say I do.
Dale
I'm
knows.
gonna, ugh.
Anyway, so they gotta stop with the creepy jokes, and they don't stop. Just letting you know, but I
They
don't like
don't
that
stop?
stuff.
Oh no.
Stuff like that, I don't really want on my TV show. It's weird, man.
Well, yeah. Well, that was the thing with the first episode that kind of like almost turned me off immediately from the show. Besides the, Game of Thrones family stuff implied there, the like it seemed like they weren't like everything was just a giant joke to the Vault people. Like when when she was like, oh, like when she asked the guy before they found out he was Raider, she's like, what's your like sperm count? Like, we have a duty to repopulate the Earth. I'm like, what? Like, what is this dialogue? Like
I
they
think it
Who
like
was just
asks
show.
that?
I mean, I think it was just showing that she's very straightforward, I guess, and to the point.
well, I get that,
I
but
saw
there's a
somebody
different
say
way.
that too online, and then I want to say that there's payoff later on, but apparently, like she's very just straightforward.
There's no payoff.
Okay,
But the
maybe
thing
that
is
person's
there's no.
lying.
But the thing is, there's no payoff with that line because the guy turned out to be a Raider. It's like it was just a way for the writers to try to like make a joke about the scenario. It's like oh, that's a vital like it's just the way she said it. Like there's other ways that she could have asked it that actually you don't even need to ask it because it's kind of implied with the dad's speech. Like they're going to repopulate the Earth once they get up there. It's kind of implied. You don't need to just it was just dumb attempt at humor.
Yeah,
They've
uh,
been playing too much Fallout Frontier.
you stop with
There's
that.
that word again.
Have you played it? Sounds like you played it.
I saw extensive
Yeah, right.
video
You
game footage of
played
it
it.
because do you want me to tell you what it was?
No, I don't want to know.
Go ahead, Craig. Just tell it for Colin.
So, Fallout New Vegas is a very popular game. So much so that people made a mod called Fallout Frontier. This is where, basically a mod for the game where you go from the Mojave Desert to, I think, the Northwest, either it's in Washington or Oregon. Doesn't matter. The people who worked
People
on the
do that?
game, what?
People that must have taken a while to mod.
Oh, it did. But instead of making a good mod, they ended up inputting a lot of their deviant
Oh
interests
no.
into the game.
Oh
A
no.
lot of it.
No, stop. I don't want to know anymore.
Well, that's why I keep making jokes up because people were hyped. Oh my God, this great mod for Fallout. We're finally gonna get our great mod, and it's a bunch of weird stuff that only people who are into that stuff would like.
That's disgusting, Craig. Where do I find this mod?
Bunch of freaks.
'Cause I remember, I think I shared videos of when I first saw it 'cause it was so hilarious. Like every little detail, people were like, "Oh my God, who would come up with this?"
I think I do remember you sending me stuff like that, but it was a while ago. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's been a few years, but it was hilarious when it came out.
it's just, what is this?
Who would spend years of their lives to make this?
This is that's terrible.
Mm.
Are you gonna play it now?
No.
Colin, I would recommend Fallout 4 at the very least. I think because you if you enjoy Skyrim, you would enjoy Fallout 4.
Just don't be siding with the synths. Human betrayer.
Don't know what that means.
Oh, I guess we're getting off topic, but the synths where the scientists from MIT became like their own faction and started creating synthetic robots to replace people just because they could.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're pretty evil, pretty crazy.
What was it? Was them the Railroad and the Brotherhood of Steel?
Yeah, because the Minutemen don't, I don't really count them as a major faction. I know they are technically, but
Another settlement needs your help. Oh, Preston.
so Colin, are you looking forward to the next four episodes? And Dan, are you looking forward to the final episode?
I guess. Just so I could see more
I'm
of the ghoul.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the Ghoul and Lucy. Anything else I don't really care about.
Colin, you seem to really like the ghoul.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's a very small drop of drugs and a very what do you say?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
It's a very
forget.
small drop and a very large sea of drugs.
What did he say? Like, when he shot the other ghoul and he was like harvesting him for meat. And she's just like, well, you can't do all this and stuff. And she's like, or she asked him, like, why do you keep going or something like that? And he goes, that's a good question. That deserves another question. Why am I doing all the work? He hands him the knife. He goes, that ass jerk ain't gonna make itself. Yeah, he definitely carries the show. Like Lucy's fine, but her character is based a lot of on her interactions with others. Like he by himself could carry it.
Well, plus like it's her naivete, her niceness.
Yeah.
Yeah, him, the ghoul, being a slick bounty hunter with a nice southern accent.
He's essentially the outlaw Red Skull.
Yeah, or kinda.
With the N-word pass.
Oh, he doesn't use that in the show. I don't think so.
Wait till you get to episode 8.
Oh no.
I know, I always see jokes about that. He's like the one person with the pass.
Ghoulification.
There's a gorilla that got ghoulified.
In the game?
Yeah, in the Fallout 4 DLC Nuka World, you can fight a gorilla called a ghoulrilla. That's been ghoulified. Figured
That's actually
I
kind
know
of
you love
funny.
the apes.
I'm just surprised that I don't know if it happens in episode 8, Craig, but they haven't introduced a Death Claw.
Well, prepare to be disappointed.
Oh, he spoils that. Well, let's definitely I'm interested at least to see what happens in the next four episodes because you said it's getting renewed for a season two, which isn't a shock. Because I guess
I'm just surprised.
The general
Okay.
consensus is that critics like it. It seems like most people like it, I guess. I'm curious what's going to happen. I'll just leave it at that.
Keeps you coming back for more.
It's yeah. No, I didn't have high hopes for this show, so I can't say I'm disappointed. It just it could have easily been better. Mainly if you just cut out the Vault storyline and Maximus, the show would have been a ton better.
Especially Maximus, that psycho running around.
Yeah.
Craig, what do you think of the first 4 episodes so far?
Well, I've seen all 8, so I'll tell you my opinion next time.
Okay, fair enough. With all that being said, we are the Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased except ours. I'm Colin.
I'm Todd Howard. Please buy Skyrim.
And I'm the ghoul.
Yeah, right. And we will see you next time.